Welcome to Terror in Tandem, a podcast about finding entertainment in the macabre, hosted by the knowledgeable and lovable Laura and Richard Nathiasen. Each episode, we discuss the horror genre, from books to film to TV and beyond. Sometimes, even from the beyond. You can find us on YouTube at Terror in Tandem, on Instagram at Terror in Tandem, and on our website, that's right, terrorintandem.com. Or, just find a crossroads and make a blood offering, and we'll appear.
Here I am, from the macabre, in the further.
Yeah. Oh God, with the red demon.
Yeah.
That looks a lot like Darth Maul. I couldn't get around that. The demon from Insidious looks a lot like Darth Maul.
Maybe it is Darth Maul.
He did get chopped in half, but that didn't kill him.
No, because you have to, take out his head.
You got to make all the cartoons. That's the word.
Really, aren't ghosts just zombies?
Sure.
With better clothing?
Do you think? So that's interesting. Ghosts, usually they're depicted wearing the clothing they were buried in.
Sometimes, not
right?
always. Sometimes it's like nightgowns.
Yeah, or
how
but
many
it's like
of
their
early 20th century were buried in their night clothes. Not many.
No,
which is weird.
But
usually they're buried in full uniforms.
But that, I think, is usually like a case of the clothes they died in. It's usually either the clothes they were buried in or the clothes they died in, and it's always of the era that they lived and died. Can they change clothes? And
no.
Also,
it goes visualizing of ghosts in film makes no sense. It's only done for the viewer, as to not have people walking around nude. The only movie that did it great was It Follows.
Right. Because
they didn't care about that old lady.
Why?
They were like, you're going to shuffle around in your nude clothes.
Why do the clothes turn spectral as well? They don't have souls.
They don't. It's only for the viewer. It's only
really
done.
Weird. Okay, quick aside though. Casper the Friendly Ghost. No one talks about this, but that has a dark, dark backstory. I mean, it has to, right?
Kid.
It's a kid.
It's a dead
That's a dead kid. They don't. It's not like Christina Ricci ever addressed that in the movie, and she totally could have. But there was never a moment being like, "Hey, Casper, how did you?" It's like, "Oh, I was a Victorian child who got consumption."
Some other people have addressed it on their pods.
Have they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's like,
I'm so unoriginal.
No, it's not that. But I also think of the,
that's just when I was a kid and that was a thing, Casper, I could never get beyond the fact that, okay, this is a dead child, right? Like, that's not happy.
Here's the thing. What is scarier? A ghost in I don't know, sort of shapeless, gowning, floating around, or a nude old person?
Oh, definitely the latter. Absolutely. 100%.
But that's scarier. But
I mean, we did an entire episode called My Weird Body. I think you know how we both feel about the inevitable degradation of our flesh sacks.
I mean, that's the thing. Just, I don't know. How do you get around it in the cinematic world, the representation of what a ghost would really look like? And is it the person viewing them in their last outfit?
Maybe they just appear that way because, like Contact, it's a form that you understand. So
yeah, but when ghosts come to people that they don't know, like there's ghosts in other movies,
or when they make the scary face with the black eyes and the mouth gets really big.
Yeah.
Ghost powers are ill-defined. I guess that's for the best.
Yeah. I mean,
allows for, freedom of storytelling.
You have to have you have to have a little, suspension of disbelief
Oh, yeah?
and some reality checking in there because ghosts, are interpreted as either real or not. So
Uh,
you have to sort of make it an
no third
even
option.
playing field.
Yeah. It's like they explained it, I think, in the Fantastic Four that like they developed special suits that turn invisible when Sue Storm turns invisible. So she didn't, they didn't have to draw her naked.
Well, what about, we can go back to Wonder Woman in her invisible
I know, flying
ship.
around in the invisible plane, right? Yeah.
I mean, didn't Family Guy or somebody do a really funny joke about her using the toilet on the invisible
I'm not sure Family Guy's ever.
plane?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't watched all 95 seasons.
Well, should we talk about what we're here to talk about? Nobody wants to hear us waxing ghost.
Yeah. For anyone
poetic.
that hasn't rage slammed their phone into the ground by now, let's talk about our March 2024 recommendations.
Why would they rage slam?
They threw it on the ground because
They're just holding their phone listening on speaker?
I think our playful banter drives most folks to insanity and rage.
Good. Then our podcast is working.
I know. The plan is coming to fruition.
Earworms.
Right.
It's all about the earworms.
It's like In the Mouth of Madness, but with podcasts.
Or it's about
Have you read Sutter Kane?
Dune, the first Dune.
I can't wait to see the new one.
I meant the Kyle MacLachlan Dune.
Oh, the OG Dune?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I know.
That is an amazing, weird movie.
It is.
Yeah. And I have been having a lot of good times with the popcorn bucket.
Just shout out to the Dune cast and their red carpeting. Jesus Christ.
The current one? Oh, yeah. I know.
Everybody looks
Zendaya looking like the robot
but
from Metropolis.
Flo Pugh is coming correct.
Yeah, always.
Everybody
and Anya
looks-
Taylor-Joy was like a space nun.
I mean, they've just all been. Nobody can live up to Zendaya. I mean, she just. Is.
No, she's in next level. Yeah.
I want to see what she's going to wear for Challengers because that comes out in like a couple of months.
Yeah. Another Luca Guadagnino. He is a fascinating filmmaker. So coming out in the horror world, March 2024.
That's what we're here to talk
That's
about.
what
Why don't
we're,
you
and
start?
exclusively the only thing we're here to talk about.
Right, exactly.
On Terror in Tandem. Oh, I get to go first, me? So listen, folks, it's been a slow start to the year, and I'm going to tell you that you've got the first part of March to continue catching up on your backlog, because mine all come out towards the end. I want to start with a book, and I'm really looking forward to this. It is a manga called Stitches, written by Hirokatsu Kihara and illustrated by none other than legendary Junji Ito. Yes, Junji Ito of Uzumaki and Gyo and Tomi and so many other horrific delights. So this one is an anthology. It's not written by Ito, but it is drawn by him. Coming out March 26th. It's 9 stories. Now, Kihara is kind of new. At least he's new to me. But he's not new on the scene. He got his start early on at Studio Ghibli, working on movies like My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service, and then became a horror writer independently. And he does Tales of Terror, which is a series I haven't read, to be honest, but I'm very familiar with Junji Ito's work, so I'm super psyched about this. There is, honestly, it's very difficult for some reason for people to nail the quote-unquote Lovecraftian feel, that sort of existential cosmic dread and weirdness and surreal, strange terror. And Ito is one of the absolute masters of it, just the best. So,
and Uzumaki is probably one of his most famous and most terrifying.
I have it hardcover on our terror shelf. In one of our luxury apartments. It's my favorite of his. I love Uzumaki. The 2001 movie version is pretty good too, actually. And it's I think he's doing another adaptation of it. Anyway, so some of the descriptions: a tumor shaped like a man's face slowly moves across a woman's body. Hate when that happens. The sea shoots glowing balls into the sky, much to the distress of beachgoers. And a girl dressed up for a holiday.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water.
A girl dressed up for a holiday has no eyes, no nose, nothing. Her face is a total blank. I mean, this is
real plain Jane.
This is the perfect fodder for Ito's style of illustration. I'm really looking forward to something very off-putting, disquieting, and strange, and dread-inducing, which is my jam.
Yeah, amazing.
Stitches,
I
March
always
26th.
thought it was pronounced manga.
It's manga.
Awesome, thanks. I learned something new today.
Mm.
All right. Well, my first up is a movie towards the end of the month. Although I do have a couple of recommendations that come out one that comes out a little earlier.
You're gonna Tarantino this? Go backwards?
No, I'm gonna flip flop all around.
Memento style?
No, I'm gonna flip it all around.
Oh.
So anyway, I'm starting with a movie, and this is a Shudder original. It's called You'll Never Find Me, and it comes out March 22nd. And it is written and directed by Josiah Allen and Indiana Bell, starring Jordan Cohen and Brendan Rock. It's an Australian horror thriller.
Ah.
So those are Australian folks that I just mentioned.
Yeah, and, shout out to us for our recent Australia
Yeah, we didn't
episode.
include this because it's new.
It's new. Australia Part 2.
And it showed at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2023 to many accolades. So
Nice. That's weird that you just mentioned that because I was just reading about Robert De Niro like 20 minutes ago.
yeah, awesome.
Anyway.
The film is set in an old RV in the middle of a raging storm, and Patrick, who is played by Brendan Rock, is a reclusive old man, and the visitor, played by Jordan Cowan, is a young woman who stumbles into the trailer seeking help and shelter from the elements. She's got no shoes on. She comes seemingly out of nowhere. The film is written, and this is what sort of the creator said, is written so that the pendulum tilts slightly back and forth throughout the film.
Oh, now that you're describing it, I just watched the trailer for this.
Yeah.
The other day. Yeah.
So Patrick goes between caring and cold, and slowly feeding information regarding his past to the visitor, and the visitor keeping a tight lid on her activities, what she's doing in the storm, and how she managed to find and access this gated facility that Patrick lives in. And so the interplay between the two of them is really amazing. And, the isolated man on a hideout, probably. I mean, it's called You'll Never Find Me. So maybe he's hiding from a shaded past.
No,
maybe
I saw the trailer. He looks like, I mean, what I liked about it was that it made it really clear that you can't trust either of them.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I mean by the pendulum.
Yeah.
But like I said, he could be hiding out from a shady past.
Oh, for sure. Or he could be on the run. Yeah,
Right.
legit. Yeah.
And so the storm gets worse, and then they, are threatened by each other, but threatened by the storm. And then there's another knock at the door.
Oh,
So
shit.
that's all I really know.
I know how I feel when someone knocks on the door just randomly.
Oh.
Fucking worst.
No, I mean,
Just want to shut all the lights off. Go
hate it.
still.
I don't mind, being in a place where there's multiple doors.
Listen, no one's knocking on your door that you don't know about for a good reason.
Yeah, I mean,
It's political or religious.
I just always
That's
don't
why.
love a pop-in.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to lie.
Yeah.
But people that know and love me and would pop in know this.
They know to announce themselves loudly as they
Or
approach.
just send a text message and be like, I'm outside your house.
We have to disarm the traps.
But anyway, You'll Never Find Me is a philosophy I live by. Coming out March 22nd on Shudder, one of our favorite secret streamers.
I know. As we've trimmed the streaming tree, as they progressively get shittier, Shudder, evergreen, baby. Never giving you up. Never gonna give you up.
What do you got next?
Well, next, I have also a movie. And this one I'm really, really looking forward to. It's been creating a lot of buzz for a while. It is hitting theaters March 22nd, and then later it's going to be streaming exclusively on the aforementioned beloved Shudder. And yes, I'm talking about Late Night with the Devil.
Not for me, everyone.
Yeah, I'll probably end up watching this one alone.
I watched the trailer. It's just not for me. I mean, listen, I'll begrudgingly watch it with you if you want, but...
Begrudgingly. My favorite way to watch a movie with someone. So anyway, Late Night with the Devil is brought to you. It's another Australian production. Now,
wow.
Yeah, I know. We
didn't even plan this.
No, we didn't. By sibling directors Cameron and Colin Cairns. So this one, like I said, it's getting a lot of buzz. It stars David Duchalmain, who...
He's very creepy.
You've known him in everything.
He was just in The Boogeyman.
He's that twitchy guy in everything from Ant-Man to The Suicide Squad to Last Voyage of the Demeter. He's great in everything. Even when the thing he's in isn't good, he's always good. So David Duchalmain is the lead of this film. It is a found footage style. The conceit is they found the long lost master footage of an infamous episode of a fake TV show. This is all meta, called Night Owls, hosted by David Duchalmain playing a character named Jack Delroy. So this takes place in the late 70s. Jack Delroy's show Night Owls is, the ratings are starting to flag. His wife had passed away a year previously, and his show is starting to tank. So he tries something drastic, which is invite on a parapsychologist and her patient, a little girl who claims to be possessed. So they do on air an episode interviewing this girl and the entity that is supposedly inside of her, and try to communicate with it. And the conceit is it went terribly wrong and something horrible happened, and the footage has been lost for 40 years and now someone finally found it. So I love that. I love it when films build up their own mythology like Blair Witch did so successfully before it was released. So the trailer too, for anyone of a certain age, it's really done in like old style, that kind of janky 70s trailer style with those super deep voice, like, the devil. So it's very cool. I love the costumes, the outfits. The concept is fantastic. It kind of reminds me of that BBC classic Ghost Watchers, which was so spectacularly done that people actually phoned in thinking it was real and freaking out like across the country. So this is not real. But Late Night with the Devil, I am really looking forward to this. People are raving about it. It's been playing at festivals. I've been looking forward to it for a while, and it's coming out finally again March 22nd.
Awesome.
Stay up late with the devil.
You can do that, and I will get into bed and read because I have 2 more recommendations that we'll get to after this break.
Hi, my name is Brundlefly, an unholy amalgam of scientist Seth Brundle and a disgusting housefly. If you're anything like me, you too are slowly morphing into a hideous fly beast due to an experimental teleporter accident. I mean, we've all been there. Honestly, it wouldn't be so bad, but that caustic acid you barf up to melt your food sure does a number on the old insides. Ugh, the burning, the roiling. It's a real mood killer. And the mood's hard enough to keep going with all the other goopy shit falling off of you. Well, plop, plop, fizz, fizz, I'm in the solution biz. Introducing Brundlefly's Tummy Tonics, a new industrial strength antacid that legally cannot be sold in any country. Each kilogram of Brundlefly's Tummy Tonics, serving size 5 kilograms, contains enough acid nullifying agent to calm even the rumbliest of man-fly hybrid tummies. Say goodbye to unwanted belching that accidentally melts anyone standing near you. Take it from me, that's a surefire way to ruin Sunday dinner. And if you happen to run an off-license chemical plant, this will clean that up too, just saying. Brundlefly's Tummy Tonics. Pop one for instant relief while your victims melt, and the only thing you'll be worried about is where to find seconds. This is a fake ad for a fake product on a horror-themed podcast. We do not condone nor endorse getting drunk and putting yourself into an experimental teleporter that explodes monkeys just to impress your girlfriend. And we're back.
So my first book recommendation is coming out March 5th.
Hope y'all can read.
Coming out March 5th, so you're not going to have to wait, until the end of the month to start your horror
around.
jumping.
Yeah.
It's called Murder Road, and it's by Simone St. James. Now, I really like Simone St. James. Some of my favorites of hers are The Sundown Motel, which, speaking of ghosts, it's a great ghost story.
Nice.
And you can come up with your own imaginings of what, this apparition looks like as you read.
Ooh.
The Book of Cold Cases, which was her most recent, and The Broken Girl. So those are some of Simone St. James. She always writes this, horror thriller, creepy situation. I know she worked in TV for a while. And then reemerged as this really prolific writer.
That's fantastic.
I really like her a lot.
Listen, I love anyone who creatively, especially, can switch gears. That's really impressive.
And she's been on the New York Times bestselling list, which is really, really great.
I've
love
seen
to see
her
these
work
things.
around the
old homestead.
the properties.
So July 1995, April and Eddie have taken a wrong turn. They're looking for a small resort town where they plan to spend their honeymoon. When they spot what appears to be a lone hitchhiker along a deserted road, they stop to help. But not long after the hitchhiker gets into the car, they see blood seeping from her jacket and a truck barreling down the road after them.
Whoa.
It sort of has Hitcher vibes.
Yeah.
I know.
Or Road Games.
Yeah, exactly. So the hitchhiker dies at the local hospital.
Ew.
April and Eddie find themselves in the crosshairs of the Cold Lake Falls police because they're like, "What happened? This is unexplained.
Had a dead girl in your
Unexplained
car."
murders have been happening along this road for years, and the cops feel like they finally have either witnesses or suspects."
Knew we should have turned down Friendship Lane instead.
And they start to dig into the history of the town to clear their names. And they learn that something supernatural is at work.
Yeah.
And will it end up with these newlyweds being longlyweds? Or will they break up?
Or get killed.
Or get killed?
Yeah.
Or are they?
I mean, that's
the murderers.
Kind of all it's what you consider in any marriage situation. Will we stay together, break up, or get killed?
I mean, it sounds very much like it has urban legend vibes.
Love it.
Maybe it's always newlyweds that end up on this road.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has Hitcher vibes, supernatural.
We know you like that.
I do. So check it out, or check any of her writing out. I would recommend starting with The Sundown Motel. It's my personal favorite of hers.
Nice.
That comes out March 5th.
Can I, just a little side note, I know it's not really called Murder Road, but I always...
The book is.
No, but like the street.
Oh, I tried not to keep saying the name of the street because it's lame. Atticus Lane.
That's fine. That's better than Murder Road. But like, I always thought it was funny when
like Murder Road.
When you're driving past a street, like, like Chunk Street or something, and it's just like, damn, do you think you get a break on the property because you live on like Fart Lane?
Yeah, right. Probably not.
There are some weird streets, and it's never quite spelled the way that, it's always a homonym of some sort, but it's like, oh, I live on Vulva Avenue.
I know some people that won't buy a home if it's on a weird street.
I'm not gonna lie, the idea of buying a home for people of my generation is hilarious, but if it were to happen, I would think about it. It wouldn't be a deal breaker.
We
but
turned down that really awesome house that we liked on 666 Crucifix Lane.
I just hated the rhyme. But like, imagine, you do get your dream home and then you have to spend a lifetime being like, yeah, it's on Nipple Court.
I also, we're going to go off on a tangent, so never mind. I was going to say things like, I don't know. Have we run out of names for road and lane?
No.
And Ave? Because we're now doing circle.
Oh, you mean
court?
Yeah.
And
I don't know. Zigzag.
What's your next recommendation?
My next one and last one, it's another movie. It's probably the biggest one coming out, on my list. And it's coming from director Michael Mohan, in theaters March 22nd, Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Everyone's favorite person. She's popping up all over the place, and she's really, really good in almost everything.
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere.
Good Lord, woman. So, anyway, Sydney Sweeney, this movie, I don't know, man. I'm excited about it. I know almost nothing about it. They're being very secretive. The trailer, though, is fantastic. It's Sydney Sweeney's first role as producer. She was, really, really gushing about it in interviews, which I like that. I like it when people are like genuinely excited about the projects they're in, and you can tell that it's not just like a media tour.
Madame Web.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, fresh off the red hot success of Madame Web, poor Sydney Sweeney. You need to get another agent. So the synopsis given here is a devoutly religious woman named Cecilia is offered a role at an illustrious convent in the Italian countryside. Her seemingly picture-perfect new home is soon revealed to hold horrifying secrets. So that's all the synopsis says, but by watching the trailer, you get the sense that when she shows up, she preggers. And
yeah, it's like one of those places.
True to the title, there's no dad. So as the baby starts to, gestate inside of her, and, people start treating her differently. Like, some people seem to start treating her like she is the second coming of the Virgin Mary. Some people seem to start treating her like she is about to birth the Antichrist. And there's this really cool shot of her that reminded me a lot of Ari Aster's work, of her dressed as the Virgin Mary. And she looks, but with this despondent look on her face. Sydney Sweeney's quite an actor, and I'm really excited to see her in what looks to me like a challenging, interesting, and weird, scary horror movie. That's like right down up my alley. It was also shot on location in Rome, so it looks amazing. Yeah, you can really tell the difference when you're out and about, really making use of like real things, and as opposed to
when you have a budget.
Yeah, that's always
nice. It does
nice.
make a difference.
That's always, well, listen, you get the clout from starring as the second Spider-Woman in
No, she
Madame
has
Web.
the clout from Euphoria.
I would argue that at this point, most people know Sydney Sweeney as beloved second Spider-Woman in Madame Web. That
I would say it's
hero that
from
we've all been wanting
Euphoria,
a movie about.
Mostly.
As a child reading comic books, I always
White
wondered,
Lotus is
when
the
am I
other
going to get
big,
a big budget Madame Web movie?
Euphoria and White Lotus are probably the ones that have transported
Listen,
her.
I've already said she's a fantastic actor. I am excited to see her not only doing genre work, but doing what looks like a throwback to, old kind of Argento style, weird Italian horror. It really has a vibe to it. It's also being distributed by Neon, which has a great track record with,
they got some creepy movies.
But also, artistic risks. So I am very excited about Immaculate. It's a really good trailer. I highly recommend you check it out because it doesn't give too much away, but it definitely got me interested. So March 22nd is a busy day, y'all. You're going to have, if you feel like going out, you can see Immaculate. And if you also feel like going out, you can see Late Night with the Devil because they'll both be in theaters.
Great. You're never going to sleep again.
Double feature.
So my last recommendation is another book. It comes out at the end of March 26th, and it's titled The Angel of Indian Lake, which is the third installation of the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones, who is one of my contemporary horror favorites.
You have been tearing through his work.
I know.
The last year or two.
Just a little bit about Stephen Graham Jones. I'm just going to talk a little bit about him because I don't want to talk too much about this book because, again, it's a trilogy and I don't want to give much away.
This is the capper, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is finishing the story?
It is.
All right.
The final installment it picks up 4 years after the end of the second book, which was called Don't Fear the Reaper.
Nice.
And My Heart is a Chainsaw was the first installment.
Killing it with the titles.
And the character of Jade returns to Proof Rock, Idaho, to build a life after years of sacrifice, only to find the lake witch is waiting for her. So,
oh, God, that sucks when you move to a new city. And
it's not a new city. She's coming back.
And you're going home and the old lake witch is waiting.
I don't want to tell more about it because it'll give away too much of the first 2 books, and I really think you should read this.
You had me at Lake Witch.
But I will tell you about Stephen Graham Jones. He's a New York Times bestselling author of The Only Good Indians. He also has written many, many books about being Indian, Native American in the horror genre especially, which is really interesting to me.
It's a voice that, 5 years ago wasn't really getting representation. And since then we've had Prey, we've had Blood Quantum, we've had Stephen Graham Jones's work. It's really awesome to see.
Even with Killers of the Flower Moon, we're having some award-winning
I'd say that's genre adjacent, It's fucking great.
To them, I would imagine in the Osage, I would imagine that it is a horror.
Absolutely. But I just, it's one of the things we love so much about this gooey genre of ours is it is such a vehicle for new voices.
Yeah. He's won several awards, including the Ray Bradbury Award.
Nice.
The Bram Stoker Award.
Ooh, big
the
one.
Shirley Jackson Award. The Jesse Jones Award. And from the Texas Institute of Letters. So he is now a professor of English at University of Colorado in Boulder.
Well, I've got 2 punches left on a sandwich card before I get a free sub. So, I'm doing pretty well over here.
And I will say that this collection is different than Only Good Indians and some of his other works in that it's a really unique voice. It's the main character's female and very in love with the horror genre and specifically slashers.
I don't know anyone like that.
And so it's sort of a slasher trilogy within a novel, and it's got all the final girl feels. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit. Stephen Graham Jones was interviewed about this trilogy and, why he decided to write something like this. And I'm just going to quote him from what he wrote in that interview, from what he said in that interview. To me, the slasher is a coin flipping through the air. On one side, there's a scream. On the other side, there's a laugh. And with the slasher, you never know which it's going to land on in any given moment. I think that's the appeal, moment to moment. So
interesting because, basically every single slasher movie you've ever seen has one scene where a character's like, hey guys, stop messing around.
Yeah.
It's always like right on the edge of pranking.
Well, what's interesting is this character Jade throughout the...
all fun and games till you get stabbed in the face.
Throughout the trilogy, she has extreme knowledge of slashers. So she knows...
oh, right.
when certain things are like, okay, well, that killer's back again because this lake has a mystery element to it. And she, starts to spot people like, well, maybe this is our final girl because she doesn't believe that she's the final girl.
That's like a dream come true for me, is a situation in which my ridiculous trove of horror knowledge in some way becomes useful.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, she's writing.
Take that, Mom.
She's in high school. So, in the first one, she's in high school and she's writing to her professor about basically like a thesis on this whole, monster that is going to be the slasher of Indian Lake.
Yeah.
And, she also sets herself up to be a very unreliable narrator.
Oh, I love that.
And she's got a very unstable home life, and she's unstable. And so she also rails against some of the final girl tropes because she doesn't have some of those characteristics.
Yeah, especially
so she's
early.
like, I can't be a final girl. And so
early
that's
on
sort of
in the
where
final
we
girl trope, it was like they had to be virginal.
Oh,
they had to be pure, innocent. Like, yeah, you couldn't be a final girl if you were like smoking pot or making out with a guy or doing anything really, because that in 80s language meant you deserved to get macheted by Jason.
So, I mean, if you like slashers, quick thriller reads, this book is, a little higher level than just a quick read. It is, he's a really prolific writer. So I would
he's
say...
also, is it quality-wise, just an excellent writer.
Yeah. I would say that you're not going to just breeze through it, but you will turn the page and turn the page.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend this. They're not short books. I think this most recent one that's coming out at the end of the month of March is, nearly 500 pages.
And how many of those are pictures?
But check it out. I mean, for the titles alone, My Heart is a Chainsaw, Don't Fear the Reaper, and now The Angel of Indian Lake.
That's great. Yeah.
Check it out. Stephen Graham Jones.
I mean, he's a #1 best-selling author in New York Times. What else do you want, people?
Oh, sometimes people don't like, New York Times best-selling authors. Sometimes they like people to be secret.
Ooh.
Gatekeeping almost.
Secret authors. I have a secret author, and I'm not telling you anything else.
Awesome.
So, honestly, March is stacked. It's been, I feel like January and February were good catch-up months, get that backlog cleared. And I've been watching a ton of great stuff, but, and reading too. I can do that. But March is kicking off what I'm hoping is like the rest of the year, just a high octane, run. 'Cause 2023 and 2022 were both fantastic. Yeah. It's been a couple of great years for our beloved genre. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Enjoy March, which, make no mistake, is just as freaking cold as the other months.
Love it.
Terror in Tandem is written, produced, and recorded by Laura and Richard Mathiasen, and edited and mixed by Richard Mathiasen. Our theme was written and performed by Carrie Denver, and all other music was written and performed by David Suspanic. All opinions expressed on this podcast are our own and should be taken as such. Thanks for listening, and please remember to give us a like, a review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. We're standing right behind you.